Okay, so this is one kind of game in economics, and it called Bertrand competition or price competition. So as the name suggests, it's a competition based on prices where two firms are competing, and what happens is to attract customers to their firm, they gradually keep lowering their prices one by one, and what happens is there's a fixed marginal cost that you can't avoid, and gradually they both lead to that cost. So the price equals the cost, and eventually all the revenue that, if they were earning any, all of that is going to go to zero now, because they've had so much fierce price competition that they've all had to just lower the prices to zero. So basically what we do first, right, is we'll be given a demand function. This is like a proper demand function because Q is on the LHS, P is on the RHS, yeah. Fixed MC is usually given and it's usually just one. Now revenue. So we can write it out like this, which is a good way because all of these can then help us think about all the equilibriums. Profit from firm 1 and from firm 2. Okay, so profit is quantity times price minus quantity times cost, cost per unit, because it's marginal cost, £1 per unit. So that's why, so for profit for firm 1 is 100 minus P1, and P1 minus 1, price minus the marginal cost. Then the same for this, but with P2, and then the same. So it's basically also a symmetrical game, which is why when we're explaining about one firm, we don't have to explain about the other firm in the same way, because it's literally just going to be the same, like decision wise. And this on the left hand side is basically telling us, so all of this is basically saying that, okay, if P1 is less than P2, then, which means firm 1's price is less than firm 2's price, everyone's going to go to firm 1. So their profit is going to be just 0. Then if the opposite was true, if this was cheaper, everyone's just going to go here, profit is 0. If they're equal, then we're, assuming very high brand value or something, but half customers. So this, but over 2, okay, and equal. So what we do here is, we know that Bertrand, what happens eventually is they're going to make no profits. They're all going to be priced at £1. So for that, what we have to do is, Nash equilibrium is defined as something that when no player wants to deviate from the equilibrium, from the particular value, from both decisions. So from both sides, they don't want to deviate and they're fine. Or they're better off not deviating. But to first, how we can do approach this is we just have 3 scenarios that you can remember. Okay, so first scenario is that P1 is more than 1, which means P1 is making profit, firm 1 is making profit, and it's less than P2, which means that everyone's going to firm 1 because firm 2's price is higher. So this isn't an equilibrium. This is not possible, because then P2 will think, okay, you know what, let me lower my prices. So they're going to deviate. They're not going to let this happen. Scene 2. They're both equal and they're both more than 1. So what happens is they're both slowly going to gradually decrease, okay? So if they're both at £2, firm 1 might think, okay, let me go to £1.90 and then get all the customers. Scene 3 is, okay, if P1 is 1 and if sorry, and this I forgot to mention. So it's basically saying that instead of half, they're already both getting half the customers, but to attract the whole market, they'll just have to change the price by a tiny bit, which won't affect them too much because already got half, but now they're going to get the whole market. Now moving to scene 3. Scene 3 is P1 is 1. What does that mean? So we're in here, it's making 0 profits, but that's how it is. P2 right now is more than P1. So say it's £2, they're doing £1. So they're like, okay, I can lower. But how much? Even if they go to £1.50, still they're lower. Everyone's going to go to them. So for them, what they'd have to do is go to £1. But if they go to £1, then there's no difference, right? There's no difference because they can, right now they're not making anything. And even after, they're not going to make anything. So it's not, in order to deviate, when we're saying yes, they're deviating, but it's not for something that's better off, right? This doesn't work. So now is the final scenario where, just moving on from this nicely, that both agree to keep their prices at 1. That's the equilibrium, because 0 profit, price set at MC, and that's why it's called a fierce competition, because both of you are eventually just making 0 profits, but they decided to compete on price, unlike Corner, that we'll see later, which competes on quantities and make profit.